My name is Cheryl Carr. I'm 49 years old and I live in Auckland. So I was originally diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer when I was 36 years old. My daughter was not quite 2 at the time, and my son was 12. I had a full mastectomy, and it had also had spread into my arm. So, 8 months full of chemo and radiation and all the rest of it. I came away from that though invigorated and wanting to just get on with life and just enjoy things, and which I did for a while. And then 4 years later, the cancer came back. And this time it came back in my spine. So by the time we caught it, it had eaten up 2/3 of my T10. So that meant aggressive surgery, which I am extremely grateful for. They removed that T10, the vertebrae came completely out, and they've replaced that now with a metal cage. And then they bolted me 3 vertebrae up and 3 vertebrae down just to hold that all together. Yeah, it was major surgery. So I came out of that and very quickly realized that my life had changed in a major way. I was grateful because I was able to walk, but soon discovered that, I can't walk for too long, I can't sit for too long, I need to lie down. And the moment I went back to work, my cancer levels started spiking in my blood. And so I had to make the really hard decision to give up everything. I was running a building company with my brother in Australia. We were, pretty successful, and I was about to buy a new house. I had my oldest son in a school that really suited him. We were just doing so well, and the future was looking so good. And I had to give that all up. We packed up everything, what little we could take with us, to come back to New Zealand for my mum and dad to take care of me. At this stage, my daughter's just 6. So we came back with just 5 suitcases, my whole life's possessions in those 5 suitcases. I had to leave my son behind. He was about to do his final year at school. I had a beautiful school that sponsored him and some people that took him in. But leaving him behind was extremely hard. So since then, it's been difficult. Financially is the hardest thing. So I receive a disability pension, which I'm extremely grateful for. I'm so lucky to live in a country that can do that. But I get this disability pension that is for a single person. On top of that, I get the tax credit for having my daughter, which is $113 a week. By the time I pay for the rent on her room, I have $23 left in which to feed her, to clothe her, to look after her, provide school uniform, the whole lot. And so that obviously doesn't cut it. So I then have to look after her from my single disability pension, which is supposed to look after me. So something as simple as going to the doctors at times is a difficult decision to make. I do factor into my budget once a month that I go to the doctors. And you know, the blessing in that being reduced a couple of years ago to half payment was great. But, you know, if I have to factor in, you know, it's $19 to go to the doctors, then I go around and take my medication to the chemist, and that can cost me anywhere between $10 to $20 because I take so many, you know, I've got my pain medication, I've got my cancer medication, I've got my nerve-ending pain medication, vitamin D, Panadol, paracetamol, antidepressants. So suddenly, you know, I'm looking at $24. And now if I've got to do that at extra in the month because suddenly Grace is brought home from school, a school bug, and inevitably at wintertime, you know, I catch everything off her. My immune system is down. That extra visit to the doctors, I've got to figure out where that comes from. And so $20 or $25 for me and my daughter, that's 2 meals. And that's 2 meals I've got to figure out where that money comes from. By the time I pay the rent and the set bills, what's left? My food bill. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so if I didn't have to worry about that, you know, there have been previous winters where I've had an infection raging in my body, and I know in my head that cancer lives on infections. And I don't have the money to go to the doctors. You know, so I have to wait till the next payday. And by that time, it's been in my body for 4 or 5 days, and I'm sick, and I can't take care of her properly. And there are days where I can't, you know, life is hard enough as it is without adding the extra into it. And if I can go to the doctors the moment I get it, because I'm not having to worry about where the money's going to come from, I can get onto that straight away, and I can be better suited to looking after my daughter and also not worrying about an infection being in my body.